Ever wondered why the price of goods and services increase over time? Well, the answer lies in a concept known as inflation. Like a balloon that expands when you pump air into it, inflation is the rate at which the general level of prices for goods and services is rising. But unlike the balloon that gets larger, our purchasing power tends to shrink. That's right. As prices rise, every dollar you own buys a smaller percentage of a good or a service. If the cost of a loaf of bread was $1 last year, and this year it's $1.10, that's inflation at work. It's a simple yet powerful force that impacts economies worldwide, from the smallest village market to the largest city's stock exchange. It's as pervasive as the air we breathe, yet as complex as the weather patterns that shape our world. But why does inflation happen? Let's delve into that. Inflation doesn't just happen. Specific factors cause it. Now let's delve into the three main causes of inflation: demand-pull inflation, cost-push inflation, and built-in inflation. First up, we have demand-pull inflation. Picture this. The latest smartphone is out and everyone wants to get their hands on it. But there's a problem. The demand for this gadget has skyrocketed, but there aren't enough phones to go around. This imbalance between supply and demand can lead to an increase in the phone's price. That's demand-pull inflation in action. Next, we have cost-push inflation. This happens when the cost of making a product goes up. Let's take a loaf of bread, for instance. Suppose the price of wheat, a key ingredient in bread, suddenly rises due to a poor harvest. This increase in the cost of raw materials forces bakers to raise the price of their loaves to maintain their profit margins. As a result, we, the consumers, end up paying more for our daily bread. And thus, we witness the effect of cost-push inflation. Lastly, we have built-in inflation. This is a bit more complex, but stay with me. Built-in inflation is tied to our expectations of the future. Let's say we all start to believe that prices will go up in the future. Workers, anticipating these price increases, start demanding higher wages to keep up with the rising cost of living. Employers, to meet these wage demands, might then increase the prices of their goods or services. This cycle can cause a self-perpetuating rise in prices, which is essentially built-in inflation. So, in a nutshell, inflation can be triggered by an increase in demand, a rise in production costs, or the expectation of future price increases. Each cause has a domino effect on our economy and can result in higher prices for goods and services. So, now we know what causes inflation. But how does it affect us? Let's find out in the next scene. Inflation might seem like a distant concept, but it affects our day-to-day lives. Let's delve into the impacts of inflation on both the economy and the individual consumers. Inflation is like a stealthy thief, quietly eroding our purchasing power. Imagine this. You walk into your favorite grocery store with $100 in your pocket. You've been doing this for years, and you know exactly what you can buy with that amount. But as inflation creeps in, you may find your usual basket of goods costing more than before. You're still spending $100, but you're walking out with fewer items. This is how inflation increases our cost of living without us even realizing it. It's not just about groceries, though. The effects of inflation ripple through the entire economy. It can create uncertainty, making it difficult for businesses to plan for the future and potentially stifling economic growth. If businesses can't predict their costs, they may hold off on expansion or hiring, which can lead to slower economic activity. On a larger scale, inflation can affect the value of our savings and investments. If the inflation rate surpasses the rate of return on your investments, you're effectively losing money. That's why understanding inflation is crucial for managing your finances. Inflation, as you see, can have a profound effect on our lives. It's not just an economic term. It's a reality we all have to navigate. Inflation is a complex topic, but understanding it helps us make sense of our economy. We've unpacked what inflation is, a rise in general levels of prices over time, and explored its causes, like demand pull and cost push factors. We've also delved into its impacts, how it influences purchasing power and savings. Remember, inflation is like a slow leak in a tire. It might not seem like a big deal at first, but over time, it can significantly impact your journey. So stay informed, stay prepared.